Do you know what no one tells you about being trafficked? It doesn't come with ominous violins playing in the background, or a man in a ski mask pulling up in a van whispering, "Get in." No, it starts far more subtly and far more seductively. It starts with compliments, a text message that says, "You're not like the other girls." A boy with cheekbones so sharp they could slice through your self-esteem, and who, surprise, has absolutely zero interest in college or steady employment. And for a girl like me, whose childhood felt like an unpaid internship in emotional chaos, "You're different" didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like a warm place to sleep. It sounded like maybe, just maybe, I could finally exhale. I was 19, by which I mean I was the kind of 19 that believes a Greyhound bus is romantic and a guy who owns exactly one fitted t-shirt is probably a visionary. He said we'd make money together. Just dinners, nothing physical. "It's easy," he said with that kind of boyish grin that should be classified as a controlled substance. "Men pay for company, not for anything weird." In hindsight, the phrase, "just dinner," should have set off alarm bells. I mean, have you ever met a man willing to drop $100 just to hear you chew pasta? But when you grow up being fed crumbs and told it's cake, you learn to say thank you and ask for seconds. When I got off that bus, I wasn't met with a bouquet of roses or even a warm smile. I was escorted to a basement, a very clean one, which somehow made it worse. There were candles, sure, but not the romantic kind, the kind you'd find in a yoga studio that doubles as a hostage negotiation room. And then there was Linda. Let's call her that, because naming her something like Cersei would feel a bit on the nose. Linda had the emotional warmth of a tax audit and the facial expressions of someone who's been to therapy, but only to practice lying better. She handed me a laminated menu. Not of entrees, mind you. No risotto here. A menu of, let's say, personalized services. There were codes, tiered pricing, and, this part still cracks me up, a loyalty program. Buy 10, get one free, like I was running a deli. It was in that moment that I realized I wasn't in a relationship. I was in a business transaction, and I wasn't the client. I was the product. And yet, strangely, the worst part wasn't the situation itself. It was how normal it started to feel. Because once you're in it, you adapt. You tell yourself this is fine. You learn to laugh at trauma like it's just another inside joke. You start seeing yourself not as a victim, but as the CEO of your own slow-motion collapse. You begin justifying Linda's behavior. Maybe she's just misunderstood. Maybe she's trying her best. You build emotional IKEA furniture out of gaslighting and trauma bonds. You hesitate when someone offers help, not because you don't want it, but because starting over sounds romantic until you remember it comes without a mattress, a toothbrush, or a single guarantee. People love to ask, "Why didn't you just leave?" Which is adorable. It's like asking a cat stuck in a tree, "Have you considered simply climbing down?" I didn't leave because I didn't know who I was anymore. I had no money, no car, no idea how to function in a world where men didn't expect me to smile on cue. I wasn't shackled by handcuffs. I was shackled by guilt, by fear, by the soul-sucking whisper that maybe this was all I deserved. Over time, the absurdity becomes your reality. You learn to joke about your pain because the alternative is letting it swallow you whole. You forget what it feels like to be touched with kindness, and when someone tells you you deserve better, it sounds as foreign as if they'd said you were next in line for the throne. But here's the thing I wish someone had told me sooner. You are not what happened to you. You are what you build after the storm passes. I didn't escape in a blaze of glory. I slipped out like a whisper. A friend from high school messaged me, randomly, and said, "I miss who you used to be." And suddenly, so did I. Healing didn't arrive with inspirational music or a TED Talk. Sometimes I still jump when my phone buzzes. Sometimes I still hear Linda's voice in my head, asking if I've considered offering a discount for repeat clients. But I've learned to laugh, because if I don't laugh, the absurdity wins. And I've spent enough of my life losing to things that didn't deserve me. So if you're watching this and feel like you're trapped in a life someone else wrote for you, remember this. You are not your past. You are the author now. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stop pretending this is normal. And if anyone, especially someone with a name like Linda, tries to tell you otherwise, block them. Twice if necessary. Leave a comment if this hits somewhere tender. Subscribe if you want more painfully honest, slightly inappropriate, but deeply human stories. And if you've got a story that deserves to be heard, write it below. I'll read it. All of it. Even the messy, ugly, glorious parts. Especially the messy parts.